Ever pondered why the Kardashians are more celebrated than Mother Teresa? Strap in, folks! We're about to head into an intriguing investigation of the pitfalls of women choosing the thought approach over traditional values. Here comes a journey into the wilderness of femme fatale evolution. From the apron-clad housewives to the independent, fierce, and often controversially defined thoughts. We're on a mission to dissect, discuss, and possibly demystify the implications. Brace yourself, here we plunge. The showdown of the era, traditional values against the potential perils of modern thought culture women. Picture this: a woman in an apricot-dotted apron baking pies and knitting sweaters. This might seem like an outdated scene from the 50s, right? Absolutely. Let's take a nostalgic stroll down memory lane. Back to the time when women were the pillars of the domestic world. The traditional woman, she who was entrusted to maintain the family's sanctum while her man was out wrestling with the world. Back the day, a woman was valued by her adeptness to cook, clean, and care. She was the master of the castle, the guardian of family virtues, and the cement that bonded everything together. Her role was well defined, to mold a nurturing environment for her family to flourish. Now, let's not get it wrong. This was no bed of roses. It demanded some serious skill sets to manage a household. Imagine orchestrating meals, preserving the house, and raising kids, all without the convenience of modern appliances like microwaves or washing machines. Now that's some superhero-level stuff right there. And let's not neglect the societal anticipations. A traditional woman was expected to be the epitome of grace, elegance, and modesty. She was the moral compass, setting the standards for appropriate behavior and etiquette. Beyond the home and hearth, the traditional woman also played a key role in the community. She was the one spearheading church potlucks, chairing the PTA meetings, and rallying the community for local fundraisers. In her stride, she upheld the societal norms and values of the time. But alas, times have changed, and with it the role of women has seen a drastic shift. The modern woman has stepped out of her domestic cocoon, making her mark in fields as diverse as science, business, politics, and sports. So, that's the traditional woman for you, all prim, proper, and pie baking. But beware, folks. We're about to plunge into the world of the contemporary woman, where the rules have been redrafted and the game has entirely changed. Hold on tight, because this transition, this abandonment of traditional roles and values, has instigated a tumultuous ride. Now let's flip the script. Enter the modern thought. Audacious, confident, living a life completely foreign to the homebound era of her ancestors. This is the epic of the thought. The woman who is compelled to groove not to her own rhythm, but to the relentless ticking of societal judgment. You see, the modern thought isn't just a woman, she's a constant target. She's the influencer of her own brand, the victim of online vitriol, and the captive of her own public image. She rejects traditional norms, and she's certainly not waiting for a man to validate her. But would society allow her peace if he did? She's the woman caught in the crossfire of shattering stereotypes, defying conventions, and provoking the status quo. She's not just breaking glass ceilings, she's fending off the backlash and bearing the brunt. Now let's touch on independence. The thought is fiercely independent, but at what price? She doesn't depend on a man for sustenance or happiness, but the cold detachment of online followers can't replace the warmth of genuine companionship. She's not seeking a benefactor, she's looking for respect. But locating it is a different ballgame. Then there's aspiration. The thought's ambitions loom over her like towering skyscrapers, casting long, intimidating shadows. She's not satisfied with just making waves. She has to be the wave, and when is it ever enough? She's not just playing the game, she's ensnared in a bitter loop, then self-expression. The thought is urged to flaunt her true colors, but only if they fit society's palette. She's not trying to fit into a box. She's laboriously constructing her own under the scrutinizing gaze of societal judgment. And that is the modern thought. Bold, unyielding, but constantly critiqued. She's an influencer, a trendsetter, a force to be reckoned with, but even she has her breaking points. And she's not just playing the game, she's entrapped in it. So here's to the modern thought. The woman who's rewriting norms, one stressful, thankless confrontation at a time. So here we are, in an era where the clash between tradition and innovation is more pronounced than ever before. Picture this dichotomy. On one side, we have our traditional dame, the epitome of elegance and propriety. Symbolizing time-honored values and norms, she is the comfort of a well-kept home, an orderly existence. Is she merely about a hot meal on the table and fresh sheets on the bed, or does her role offer more depth than we perceive? Now let's look at the other corner where stands our modern maven, the embodiment of relentless ambition and progress. Her dreams are larger than life, and she doesn't shy away from pursuing them. She may not serve dinner on time, but she's out there, breaking barriers and conquering her world. She's trying to balance work, life, and all that falls in between, breaking the mold with flair and gusto. But then enters the thought culture, casting a negative shadow on these progressive women. The traditional, she offers stability and predictability, however she's bounded, limited. Confined within societal norms, she's trapped in a role not of her own choosing. The modern maven, on the other hand, is synonymous with freedom and independence, scripting her own rules and shaping her destiny. But here's the rub, she isn't unscathed either. Burdened by the thought culture, she faces an undue pressure to conform to a superficial, provocative image that undermines her true potential, adding stress to her already complex life. Tradition provides comfort, but the cost of freedom and individuality. Modernity allows autonomy, but also brings with it a plethora of trials, further complicated by the negative implications of the thought culture. Society itself is caught in the middle of this tug-of-war, struggling to reconcile the traditional with the modern, the old with the new. The tension between tradition and transformation is tearing at the fabric of our society. It's not an easy decision, is it? Apron or ambition, tradition or transformation, and now an added layer of struggle against the damaging thought culture. Do you buy into the idea that thotties are taking the reins? A moment of sober reflection is needed. It's time we plunge into this metamorphosis and the potential pitfalls that it brings along. Let's redirect our attention to the descent and the backlash this leap from traditional norms to the thought phenomenon is stirring. The reactions are as multifaceted as the shades in a color wheel. To begin with, let's consider the older generation's perspective. They firmly believe in our era, respect and dignity held the highest importance. What's prompting this sudden thought phenomenon? They interpret this as a descent into disgrace, a depreciation of moral standards. For them, it's more about losing the essence of values rather than simply adapting to new trends. On the other side, we have men who are feeling undermined by the dawn of this new epoch of empowered women. Certain men are growing concerned about their societal position this transition. They are troubled by the implications this could have for their standing in society. Therefore, this is not merely a debate over whether thotties are taking over or not. It is, in fact, about the resistance and adverse reactions towards transformation and advancement, towards women breaking free from traditional confines and flexing their power. It's about the discomfort this shakeup in the status quo is inciting, disturbing more than just a handful of conventionally held beliefs. It's about the backlash against advancement, change, and the shattering of conventional norms. All right, folks, it's time to drop the gavel on this one. We've navigated the turbulent waters of the evolution of women, from the duty-bound damsels of yesteryear to the audacious Amazons of the present. We've witnessed the battleground, where traditional roles grapple with contemporary norms, each battling for supremacy. There's been a seismic shift, undeniably. Women have been struggling to break free from the heavy shackles of societal expectations, attempting to embrace a life of independence and self-expression. They are no longer content being confined to the kitchen and the cradle. They're braving the spotlight, entering boardrooms, breaking hearts, doing it all with courage and resilience. But let's not disregard the hurdles faced by our conventional ladies. They've been the fortresses, preserving values that have held society together for generations. They've been the rock, the spine, the unwavering lighthouses amidst the tumultuous tides of change. It's a new world indeed, but one that's fraught with peril. Women are not just defying societal norms, they're carving their own paths amidst hardship, rewriting the rules in their own blood and sweat. But this shift is not without its implications. Of thought culture sees women distancing themselves from the virtues that have long been our society's bedrock, leading to a destabilization of traditional values. The implications are daunting. We're looking at a societal upheaval, a new era, a revolution of sorts. Whether you're team tradition or team thought, one thing's for sure. Women are not just changing the game, they're battling for it. Yet we must ask ourselves whether this battle is one that we should be embracing or one that we should be cautiously wary of. Isn't that a question worth? Now we shift our attention to the other component of the equation, the men. How is the surge of the thought culture affecting them? As women redefine their roles, men are left grappling to find their footing in this evolving societal structure. The conventional roles of provider and guardian are no longer a certainty. Men are being urged to step up, to partake in household responsibilities, to be emotionally available, essentially, to be more like women. However, not all men are prepared for this transformation. This is a formidable transition, a society-wide upheaval that's altering not only the gender dynamics, but also having a profound impact on men's mental health and relationships. The thought culture is not solely burdening traditional men. The modern man is also feeling the pressure. The relentless drive to keep up with societal expectations, to uphold the alpha male status, to be the ideal partner is taking a toll on their mental well-being. Men are combating issues like depression, anxiety, and low self-esteem in the face of the thought culture. The social pressure is palpable. Men are expected to adhere to these new standards, to be supportive, considerate, aware. It's a hefty expectation. Not every man is prepared for it. They're stuck in a paradox, condemned if they conform, condemned if they don't. So the rise of the thought culture is not only impacting women, men too are feeling the repercussions, and it isn't always positive. However, like the women, they too are adapting, learning, evolving. This is a brave, new world, and we're all navigating it together. Let's delve into the challenges men face while attempting to navigate the thought culture. This shift has certainly thrown men off balance. They are wrestling with understanding these fresh norms, trying to decode what they signify and how to adjust accordingly. It's akin to learning an alien language overnight, naturally leading to hiccups, miscommunications, and misunderstandings. In the midst of the thought culture, men's interactions and relationships with women are entering a new era. Keeping pace, finding clarity about the expectations, and fulfilling them is proving to be a Herculean task for many men. There's a feeling of being perpetually judged under a relentless watch. It's a high-tension situation, and not all men are managing to cope. However, it's not just about hardships. Amidst the pandemonium and ambiguity, some men are rising to the occasion. They are accepting the change, reshaping their roles, and cutting themselves free from the chains of traditional masculinity. They're opening up emotionally, becoming more supportive and more equal partners. By doing this, they're not only bridging the gender divide, but also laying the groundwork for a more balanced society. Thus, it's in ballet, this new societal setup. But much women, men too, are identifying their rhythm and choreographing their own steps. It's an ongoing process, but progress is undeniable. And that indeed is a cause for celebration. Now let's delve deeper into the discomfort and mental turmoil that men are experiencing as they're pushed to acquiesce to these new thought norms. The pressure to adapt to this culture weighs heavily on numerous men, significantly impacting their mental health. They find themselves trapped in a vortex of change, striving to swim against the tide while simultaneously trying to keep their mental and emotional health intact. The struggle is jarring, leaving many feeling overwhelmed and distressed. There's a pervasive sense of loss, an unsettling feeling of their identity gradually disintegrating as they bend and shape themselves to fit into these new norms. It's as if they are chiseling away at their own personas, fragment by fragment, to fit into a mold that's foreign to them. It feels like a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces, a canvas with mismatched hues, creating an internal turbulence of confusion and heartache. However, it's crucial to understand that not every man is willing to tread this path. A considerable number of men are resisting the thought movement, steadfastly holding on to their personal beliefs and ideologies. The motives behind this opposition are diverse. Some find their precious traditions threatened, others feel it erodes their individuality and personal principles, while some others simply find themselves at odds with the thought culture. This resistance, however, does not erase the fact that men are experiencing significant mental health strains due to pressure to adhere to the thought culture. The distress and discomfort they endure are palpable and profound. This battle is not just about conforming or resisting, it's about preserving their mental health, finding their own way, and maintaining their individuality amidst the waves of change. And that's a struggle worth acknowledging.